So, a championship has been settled in terms of the drivers and teams titles, but there are still some fascinating battles to go on in this very last race of this new season of the FIA GT1 World Championship. Hello and welcome once again. If you're rejoining us, it's Ben Edwards and John Watson as we prepare for this 1 hour championship finale. So that might be sorted, but the SRO Manufacturers Trophy, for example, between the 6 different brands that are represented in GT1, that's still open between Maserati and Aston Martin are having a splendid time of it here around this Potrero de las Funes circuit, and there's also the battle for second place in the championship. Look at that view, John. What a wonderful section of circuit.
Well, that's just one little part. That's the run down to turn 16. It's sort of sinuous twists and turns down to the bottom, lowest part of the circuit, then even tighter as it climbs back up through 17, 18 and turn 19. But what a magnificent racetrack and a beautiful part of Argentina, San Luis province, and really GT1 cars, it's a special track for them to race on. 362 days of the year, this is all the road around the lake, but for these 3 days it's turned into a monumental racetrack, and particularly Sector 3, which is a very long sector, about 1.25 minutes climbing up round the side of the mountain. It narrows up there. Other sectors like 1 and 2, there's more width, potential overtaking, but it is slippery offline. Yes, we saw that in the...
Let's see how the grid lines up for this championship race. It's the Aston Martin and the Ford on the front row of the grid, and another Hexis car on the second row, and the first of the Lamborghinis in the hands of Frank Kekkeler. Then the first Nissan with Peter Dunbreck. Carl Wendlinger's gone well. He starts in 6th place for this one. Alessandro Pierguidi and Maxime Martin. It's Maserati versus Ford, and then Lamborghini versus Aston. There's Darren Turner's car back on row 5. Row 6, the new champions, Bertolini and Bartels, and then on row 7 we've got the other Nissan of Jamie Campbell-Walter and Warren Hughes. Row 8, we've got a Ford and a Maserati. On row number 9, another Ford. It's the Neil Yarni car. They had that ECU problem earlier. The Corvette got taken out earlier on. The crashed car of Christopher Haas and Peter Cox, and the Aston number 8. And at the back, it's Seiji Ara. He's had a off into the pit lane. There we go. And as they come up towards turn 22, let's hope they keep it nice and tidy. Pole position is the Hexis Aston Martin. Car number 9 being driven by Fred Makovicky. But watch for Richard Westbrook in the Martek Ford alongside, because he is determined to get a great result. The final race of the 2010 GT1 World Championship is about to get underway here at the Potrero de las Funes circuit in Argentina. We wait for those lights. It's a long curve as they come round towards the start-finish line. Wait for those lights to go to green and watch for the battle. Here we go! Aston Martin versus Ford from the front row of the grid. Another Aston Martin behind, but a good start by Fred Makovicky. He's got his car ahead and Clivio Piccione's following him. The 2 Hexis Aston Martins blast away off the line, and Richard Westbrook's been pushed back to 3rd at least.
Yes, a good start from Clivio Piccione, 2nd row of the grid. Aston Martin, the Hexis team have got a lockout at the present time. 1st and 2nd, and looks like Darren, well, that's which Aston was that? Maybe that could have been Lopez.
It might have been Lopez. It might have been the local specialist looking for a bit of extra track like the touring cars. But up front is Makovicky who leads. 2nd place Piccione. The Hexis cars have made a perfect getaway. I think everybody's made it through the first corner. Oh, it's getting a little tight in the middle there. I can see Neil Yarni's car being squeezed, and we're riding on board with Andrea Bertolini, who's trying to go down the inside into the chicane. It's tight here, tight. Can he make it through?
And he's got the 4G. It's been spun round the Lamborghini. Spun out, coming turn 6. Now the 4GT, who was under pressure, has been able to make another position.
So that's one of the Alinco cars that spun out there. That's a great shame. I think that might have been the Argentine driver Risati, but we'll have to wait and see as they come past us. Well, we're not nearly to a lap yet. There's a long way round this lap, and we'll see when they do eventually come past us. But a lot of jostling for position here. You're back on board, going past. No, that is Risati. So it was the Schwager Pastorelli car that ended up spun down there at the chicane, and Ricardo Risati, this young Argentine driver, still in the other Alinco Lamborghini, and he's keeping the new champions behind him for the moment.
Well, the top 5 cars have already opened a gap. They've made that break to get away from the bulk of the field, but there you see what's happening. Everyone tripping over each other, trying to make up position.
The 2 young driver Astons are together there, so Darren Turner did lose a lot of time on that opening lap, and he's been caught by his teammate Lopez, who started right at the back. So the young driver Aston Martin team are not having nearly as successful a time as the Hexis Aston Martin team that's running 1st and 2nd. Look at them twisting, turning through these 1st gear hairpins.
Nothing you can do at this part of the track at this early part of the race. In the meantime, the lead the 2nd Aston, certainly pulling away, but pressure still from that 4GT behind the lead of the second of the two Astons coming up to the final turns.
Yeah, Richard Westbrook sits in third in the Medtech Ford, as you say, and then it's Frank Kekula in the Lamborghini running very wide there. That was Maxime Martin who slots. Oh no, he's made contact with the Lamborghini. That's bounced him over the curb. Can he hold it? Yes, he just about hangs onto it on the dirt and the dust, but he's lost a whole host of places.
Indeed, I know how he got himself so far out and literally off the track. Baccaria, the Corvette, tagged the pit lane coming onto the pit straight. The back of the car slammed against the wall. He seems to be okay, but there was certainly lots of action as we...
That was all
happening
happening there.
Lap.
That really was tight, but the race leader being held by Fred Makovicky. And look at this, another battle trying to come up the inside there. And through is the Sumo Power Nissan. That's Peter Dumbreck who's gained a place. Up into fourth position, past the Lamborghini of Frank Kekla. But Kekla's retaken it.
Yeah, the Nissan had to run wide in the exit of four. Let the Lamborghini come back again. The crossover, so positions are now status quo. But the speed of the Nissan up into turn four certainly caught out, and they will look further back.
Look at this, the other Sumo Power Nissan there is also involved in a battle. Jamie Campbell-Walter trying to fend off Darren Turner. Lopez is behind him. Lopez who's so quick in qualifying.
Because there's a low Corvette looking to...
Oh, that was earlier.
That was the repeat, and that was caused, we believe, by Maxime Martin coming back on track, forcing the Corvette out wide. Those two cars are under investigation right now by the stewards.
Yes, they are, but I think they're both running. The Henrici Corvette is still going in 20th place, so despite that little tap against the wall at high speed, the car seems to have survived for the moment. So still a raging race going on for third place as Makovicky has made that break. Westbrook goes after him now. We'll see what the gap is this time as they come past us. 6.1 seconds was the gap when they came past last time. Let's see, Makovicky did a 2:16.1, 2:16.4. He's actually extended the lead. Westbrook is not going as fast as the race leader Makovicky. I tell you what, that Hexis Aston Martin is beautifully set up here.
There's no doubt that running behind Piccioni didn't help Richard Westbrook in making progress. He's had to work his car a little bit more strenuously than those ahead of him, such as Makovicky and the Aston Martin. Clear road, choose the bit of racetrack he wants, not a problem.
On board now with Peter Dumbreck. He's chasing fourth place, Frank Kekula. They've swapped once already, and Kekula goes defensive here, and Dumbreck's on the better, grippier side of the circuit. Could be a problem for Kekula, but he holds it beautifully, and he's got a wise head on young shoulders as Frank Kekula.
To come down the hill.
Staying out for longer. Let's just what was going on here.
This is the repeat of what happened earlier when Maxime Martin ran wide, came back on the track, round the curb, got airborne. He then somehow or other got it gathered together. You wouldn't believe it looking at it, but when he did come back on track, about 4 or 5.
Carl Wendlinger, chased by Riccardo Rizzati in the Al Inkle Lamborghini, and look as though it might be a little bit of a change there possibly. That is Rizzati up the inside. The Argentine driver has done it, got past Carl Wendlinger, and the youngster really showing his worth here. He knows this track very well indeed from his own experience, and now trying to follow through his Marcus Paltala, but that one doesn't work. And meanwhile Peter Cox almost making a move on Andrea Bertolini, and if he's not careful he's going to lose a place to Jamie Campbell-Walter.
And then between the Aston also,
and Lopez, yes.
Lopez also taking advantage of those cars having their squabble, trying to get alongside him now as they make that long climb up through 7 and 8 up to the top of the circuit up at turn 9.
Yeah, Lopez definitely getting side by side. He's putting pressure on Paltala. The turquoise and black Maserati really looks to have a go, but Bertolini decides against it.
And wisely too, there just wasn't far enough up to put himself alongside the 4GT to get down. Now he's going to go the long way around as they come into turns 11, 12 and 13, but again, too much dirt on the outside of the track. You can see the racing line, it's almost now black with rubber, but everything else is no-go area.
Yeah, it's dusty and dirty offline. You have to take a bit of a gamble if you're going to do it. We saw Westbrook have a go and succeed down at the next section of track. I'm not sure that Bertolini will throw it down the inside with quite the same abandon that Westbrook did, but we have seen it work in the touring car race as well. Oh, and then down the inside, here comes Jamie Campbell-Walter, and he's made the move on Peter Cox. I said it could happen there. Wasn't necessarily expecting it right then.
I think, but look at poor Darren Turner, absolutely edged out on the way up the hill. All this, the battle going on, and that's just, you catch your opponents unexpectedly. They're looking at one thing and you do the other.
Yeah, and it's the other Aston Martin of oh, and he's in trouble that's Dumbreck. That's Dumbreck in trouble. He spun it. He has spun from 5th position. Peter Dumbreck We didn't see quite what happened. He was in the lead group, and meanwhile, Lopez, I think, has gained perhaps another position, has he? Yes, he's got past Jamie Campbell-Walter. So both Sumo Power Nissans down towards the tail end. What a disaster for James Rumsey and the team, the Sumo Power guys who were hoping so much to get third in the team's championship. It is disappearing from their grasp now as Dumbreck recovers from what looked to be a spin. Whether somebody else helped him, we don't know.
We didn't see it live. We may get to see a replay. But what disappointment, Dumbreck comfortably in 5th place now, all the way back down into 17th.
17th, yes indeed, a long, long way down the field. Lopez is the one who certainly gained plenty of positions on this last lap. He's been in the right place at the right time, and here comes Dumbreck trying to get back at that Aston Martin if he can, trying to go around the outside. That's pretty brave. Not sure he's going to do it. He's on Darren Turner that he's trying to make that move, and in fact he might get beaten here as they come down the hill by the Maserati of Bernoldi.
Yes, Bernoldi saw the situation, puts himself alongside the Nissan, takes the ground away, and he's made an easy position while Peter Dumbreck was fighting to recover. Now Lamborghini and Nissan side by side, almost in the wall, almost pushed that car into the wall.
That was very aggressive racing indeed, and they really had to back out of it. That's Peter Cox who had to lift big time there, and now he's under pressure from Bernoldi as well as they come back down the hill and back up towards turn 9. This is fast and furious racing in GT1 World Championship.
Well, certainly we saw a good race in the qualifying race, but this is a different order altogether.
Corvette joining the back of the queue, but that's all the way down in 20th place there, and still up front, remember, it's the Aston Martin of the Hexis team that leads this one, but it's all changed with particularly Peter Dumbreck. Let's see if what happened to Dumbreck.
Just ran wide, got on the dirty stuff, back of the car, started to come around. I'm not even sure he didn't stall the car. Car spun 180 degrees, and for Peter Dumbreck, well, 5th place down to 18th place, 17th now. What a disappointment.
Yeah, it's all about getting on the slippery stuff. If you put a wheel just a few inches off that black line, which you mentioned, John, is really beginning to show now, especially on these helicopter shots. Get an inch or two off there and your history.
Yeah, I mean, once the racetrack begins to rubber in, it's only the line that is rubbering in. The rest of the racetrack is as it was yesterday after we had that monsoon, a 2-hour monsoon storm, and everything has washed off, and I mean, literally, it's a no-go area other than the race line.
So up into the final sector of the lap here, coming in towards the last right-hander. Lopez has managed to make some good progress. Darren Turner, who we're watching there in the number 7 Aston, well, he's lost out a bit throughout all of this. Wendlinger's down in 14th place, Turner now 15th, Bernoldi there is in 16th position. Lights ablaze. Dumbreck's all the way down in 18th place now, but Lopez in the other Aston has jumped up to 11th. So he has the one who has gained places during this last little stint as you ride back on board with Peter Dumbreck, recovering from that spin. What a blow, both for him and for the team. Their other car now ahead of them, Jamie Campbell-Walter, but he's not in the points either. He's down in 12th. It's not enough for Sumo Power to try and take 3rd place in this championship. They need to get both cars up there.
Dumbreck trying to make a move, and Peter Cox in the Lamborghini out of turn 4. Short run down to turn 5. Nothing at all attainable. Hard on the brakes, just again single file. Turn right, turn left, then get on the power. The long climb up to turn 9. But again, you've got to really wait for everybody ahead of you to do what you're about to do.
Yeah, and there's not much chance of finding a gap. Meanwhile, the race leader, by the way, has got an 8-second gap. So Makovic is still, there he is, car number 9. He's still charging away up front. And we've got 3 minutes until the pit window opens, but we are expecting some of them to stay out longer than they did. There's Westbrook, still running in 2nd position. Piccioni in 3rd, holding off Frank Kekler in the Lamborghini. Then the 2 Maseratis in the Hager Sport team. They're running line astern. Then Neil Yarni in 7th. There's Rizzati, this Argentine driver who's putting in a good showing here. There is the new champion, Andrea Bertolini, who'll be handing over to Michael Bartels. And there's a good little tussle going on between Paltala and Lopez.
And I think Lopez will not take too long to find his way past that particular 4 GT. He is on a charge, started virtually in the back row of the grid, and now up to 11th place.
So the pit window, I think, will be open next time around just about as they come across the line. But will they stay out longer, as Wendlinger did in the qualifying race? It certainly helped. It does depend, really, if you're in clear air or you're in traffic. I would think the leader may well come in early anyway. He's got a great clear run here, and he could, depends where it would drop him back into, though. I'll be looking at that. Meanwhile, Lopez in car number 8, here he is. He is running in 11th position, ahead. In fact, no, he's gained that one on that lap. He's in 10th place now, so he's in the points despite having started from the back.
I didn't think it would take terribly long for Jose Maria Lopez to get past the Ford of Paltala, and he's done so and pulling away quickly in the process.
Yeah, very fast. Meanwhile, Michael Bartels gets ready to take over the number 1 Vitaphone Maserati. They're in 9th place, so they can still score points to finish off the season. But it's the story. But his chances of second in the table are slipping away. Meanwhile, Darren Turner is switching with Thomas Enger, but from a long, long way down the field. It's not been a great end to the season, sadly, for this strong driver lineup of Turner and Enger, but that's the way it goes. And it looks as though they could lose their second place in the championship, certainly to Thomas Much if the Ford stays where it is up front at the moment.
Of course, they're carrying a little bit of ballast from their success in Interlagos, and undoubtedly, look at the dust in the pit lane.
Yes, it is very dusty, very slippery down there. And I tell you what's also interesting is that Makovici could snatch third in the Drivers' Championship from Turner and Enger, unless Turner and Enger can get into the points. They only need to finish 10th or 9th to make sure that they can hold on to third, but at the moment that's not looking very likely. And so Thomas Enger's got a bit of a task ahead of him here.
Yeah, but at face value, would you say the Turner-Enger partnership is a stronger one than the Makovici-Kalari one?
Hard to tell, actually. I would have done normally, but I'm very impressed with these two, Fred Makovici and Jan Claret. Look at the lap times that Makovici's been putting in, and Claret was doing similar in the earlier race. Now, what's this? Lopez gaining another one, is he? Trying to go through on the inside. No, it's the other car. Enger just slipping through as he gains a place on the out lap here. So an important position perhaps, but they are coming from a long, long way down.
And it's very important that Thomas Enger did take the opportunity to get past something hanging. There's a bit of tape, I think, from the bottom of the Nissan. Important for Enger, the earliest chance to make progress, not to get caught out, stalled out behind another car. But look at the pace of the Nissan up the hill. Came off the corner quicker. Enger's got to go to the right to defend. The Nissan coming up the long way. Can he get sufficiently far ahead under brakes to try and go the long way round? Wisely thinks not. No,
that's right. That was Henri Moser in the Nissan. He's handed over he's taken over from Carl Vinlinger. Meanwhile, here's Clivia Piccioni handing over to Jonathan Hershey in the other Hexis Aston Martin that was running third, remember, before the pit stops. This was the car that Westbrook did manage to overtake in the early stages, but then held on to third and stayed ahead of a number of different cars. Those two guys hard at work. Into the pits, the number 2 Vitaphone Maserati. Out gets Enrique Bernaldi. In gets Miguel Ramos for the final stint of the final race of this 2010 season. They're not really featuring in the points, these guys, but Piccioni definitely is. Thumbs up from him. Good effort in that stint.
Yes, and he did what he had to do. He lost the one position to the Ford GT40, or GT, not 40, of Richard Westbrook, but he consolidated his third position and hands over that car, and Jonathan Hershey will be happy with that.
Might have been a slight delay on that number 2 Vitaphone car, but they get him underway now, and as I say, he's outside the points currently anyway, so that might not have hurt his chances too much. But up front, our race leader has not yet made a pit stop. Makovici is still out there, still travelling around very quickly, still lapping in the 2 minutes 16 bracket on tyres which have now done 12 laps.
So the Nissan right on the tail of the Maserati coming out, and it will be a sprint up through turn 2 and up into turn 3. And with the grunt the Nissan's got, it's going to put the Maserati under a lot of pressure. Yeah, but these Sumo Power Nissans particularly have had a very, very tough time of it in the race here in Argentina. Things are not gone according to plan at all, and they're going to lose that cherished third spot, I'm sure, if things stay the way they are. Don't forget the race leader Makovici. He might have a 9-second lead over Westbrook. They've still got a pit stop to cope with. Little battle still going on here between the Nissan and the Aston Martin, and they've hit each other. They've hit each other. Thomas Enger getting hit by the number 3 car of Henri Moser. Well, Enger gave him enough room, but Moser was just and the Aston Martin gave enough room, contacted them, and they went. What's really interesting here is that Jose Maria Lopez has stayed out, hasn't come in the pits. He's just set a new fastest lap, 2:16.1, and he's got the car up to 6th place. So that Aston Martin number 8
is flying at the moment. He's not handed over to Stefan Mucker as yet. You're still riding on board with Peter Dumbreck here, and Thomas Enger has been held up by another car. He's trying to fight his way past. That is Christopher Haas in the Reiter Lamborghini, and I think he's done it. But he might get swamped by Michael Krum. Michael Krum goes 3 abreast. How can they all get through here in one piece? They're trying it. Dumbreck on the Krum on the inside, and fighting back is Christopher Haas in the Lamborghini, and Thomas Enger ends at the back of the queue.
Yeah, this time he got just outmaneuvered going into turn 4. 3 cars into one really is difficult. And Michael, the Lamborghini, it wasn't really close enough to the Maserati, but it is now gaining on the run up to turn 9, and he's going to put himself down the inside, assuming the Maserati doesn't put a block on it. He gets up to a point, then it just sort of stalls out. He gets the slipstream, and then when he pulls out, it just stops.
Yep, that's right. So pit window.
Oh, accident! Nissan has tagged something. Saw the front of the Nissan, the left front of the car. I think that was one of the 2 Swiss Nissans.
I wonder if Enger's car's not damaged. He's been passed by Margaritis in the Corvette now as well. So the number 13 Corvette's got past Thomas Enger in the number 7 Aston Martin. They're both being chased by Dominic Schway. Look at this stuff. Side by side down through this sweeping right-hander. Oh, that's a difficult play. Oh, and off.
That's the car I was talking about.
Right, okay. So that is the Wendlinger Moser car. That was the car that hit Enger earlier, if you remember. That was involved in an incident with him. Whether there was damage done then, which has led to something else, I don't know. But wow, this is fraught stuff. And it's the other Swiss Racing Nissan that's leading this particular queue. This is all for 13th place. You wouldn't think it. You'd think they're fighting for the lead, wouldn't you?
Well, they should fight, even if it is 13th place. That's what motor racing's about. If it was about driving, they would call it motor driving.
Up front, it is still Jan Claret who leads this race. We're showing no pit stop for Marcus Paltala. Now, if he hasn't stopped yet, he's going to be in trouble. He's going to get a drive-through penalty because the Ford should have been in by now. The pit window has closed. It's easy to get it wrong here. It's a long lap. They might have mistimed their pit stop, but the real leader is Jan Claret in the Hexis Aston Martin. That was what happened.
That was the incident a couple of laps ago. Car just got onto the dirt. We saw the Dumbreck car do with Michael Krum almost get caught out, and there you saw the Swiss Nissan just getting it wrong and tagging the tower wall on turn 12.
Well, oh, look at that slide. Big slide in the Maserati there. Did well to hold on to it, didn't he? That was indeed Miguel Ramos, who's now under pressure because of it. Christopher Haas in the Lamborghini's got alongside. This could be Christopher Haas's opportunity now if he can just get down, turned in. Yes, he's through. The Lamborghini gets past the Maserati, up into 14th place. Might be a change behind as well.
But the Nissan behind also sees, I'll have a bit of that space on the track into turn 4. So Ramos loses 2 places and 2 corners, and now being attacked from behind by the Corvette.
Yeah, the Corvette might have just touched the Maserati. I'm not sure, but it looked like there might have been a slight contact between them. And then it's Thomas Enger behind this group as well, as they all jostle for position here. And certainly a very good little gain there for Christopher Haas, who sneaked his Lamborghini past. There's the Corvette, then the yellow car, now also trying to get past Miguel Ramos.
Yeah, he's got down the inside, Ramos, in the Maserati. 3 places in 3 corners. And when it starts to go wrong, you lose your momentum. Lamborghini trying to sweep past down the inside into turn 11, but the track just wasn't wide enough.
Dominic Schwager, that is, who's got past Thomas Enger. Oh, Ramos has spun into the chicane, and he's off onto the sidelines where we've already got another Nissan.
Was that a spin or was that a tag from behind? We just saw the back of the Maserati very suddenly swoop around. We couldn't tell whether there was contact or whether it was just simply Miguel Ramos has been under pressure. This lap, 3 corners, 3 positions lost. Maybe it was just down to the driver, or maybe it was outside assistance.
So now we've got 2 Nissans racing against one another, and a Corvette tucked in behind as Michael Krum puts as much effort into this as he possibly can. You're riding with Krum here as he climbs up the hill, chasing Max Nielsen in the Swiss Racing Nissan. And in fact, this is the battle between 2 different teams. They've got a Sumo Power car up ahead of them in 12th place. That's the car of Warren Hughes, which is actually the fastest of the Nissans in this race at the moment.
Well, the 2 Swiss Nissans struggled in qualifying. They're the slowest 2 cars, but in the qualifying race, and now they're actually back in a competitive position. But it is this Nissan, the Sumo Nissan, putting the Swiss Nissan under pressure onto the start-finish straight.
Yeah, but can he find a way through? That's the big question. Look at them all fanning out, jostling one way, then the other. Dominic Schwager's going well in the number 38 Al Inkel Lamborghini. That's the white and black car with the red sign writing on it, and he's sort of catching up to the back of this group. Let's just take a look back at this a moment ago. That was on board, and then we take a look at the end of the spin there. That was, of course, Miguel Ramos, who went off at the chicane. But back with Peter Dambrecht as with Michael Krum, as he still tries to put the pressure on Max Nielsen.
Quicker through turn 4 than the Swiss Nissan ahead, but not sufficiently quick to make a move down into this short sprint down into turn 5. But the Corvette's looking and having a sniff. The pace of the Swiss Nissan is slowing up Michael Krum, and now the Corvette thinks, I'll have a bit of this action too.
Yeah, that's Alexander Margaritis. He's loving this, getting the Corvette right into the mix, but they're outside the points. The Corvette needs points this weekend if Mark Canarici is to hold on to second or third place in the championship. Out has gone the number 40 VDS Ford of Bas Linders and Maxime Martin. That was running in 11th place, so that will promote some other cars just onto the verge of the top 10. But look at them slipping and sliding around. Up front it's still the Hexis Aston Martin that leads this race, but how much longer can Max Nielsen keep Michael Krum and Margaritis and Dominic Schwager, and for that matter Thomas Enger behind him? They're all ganging up on him.
And the Schwager, the Lamborghini, thought there was an opportunity to get past the Corvette. Difficult to do, again going offline, but side by side, coming down the hill. But the Corvette still retains that offline is so dirty.
Oh, and Michael Krum had a little think about going down the inside there on Max Nielsen, but there wasn't enough space to do it. And they still follow one another, climbing back up. Just first gear only through here, trying to get the power down without kicking the back of the car out too much. Corvette now under pressure again from the Lamborghini, which has a look up the inside, and that's Dominic Schwager through. So that was a good move on the brakes into 19.
Watch for a switchback. No, the Corvette unable to come back at the Lamborghini. So one position and two more ahead of him.
Yeah, that's 16th place, I think, gained by Dominic Schwager, who going very well in the Al Inkel car. Oh, and out. Michael Krum is out, John. It's all over for the number 23 car. It's been in the wars, hasn't it, throughout this race? And now finally it looks as though it's finished.
Well, looking round at the left front corner, no evident damage, but there's a little bit of steam, smoke coming from those brakes. I don't think that was the problem either.
No, great shame. Peter Dambrecht and Michael Krum have fought hard here today. Now then, what's going on here? Nicholas Armindo in the Ford versus Michael Bartels in the number 1 Maserati. This is actually in the points. It's for 7th place, and Bartels has been gradually catching up, I think, over the last lap. Not by much, but he's very close now. Yeah. Look, might have a little look up the... No, he doesn't. Into 19.
No, the Ford just keeps its place right in the middle of the road, so it precludes Bartels from being able to put the Maserati up the inside, and certainly he doesn't want to put it up the outside, because we know from previous experience it's no way, no go.
The Matec team have 2 cars in the top 7 then. They've got the other car in 2nd place, but you can see that this one is also running pretty strongly. But having said that, the Maserati right behind looks to be the quicker of the 2 cars. Coming across the start-finish line, that's 19 laps completed, just under 15 minutes to go then in this last race of the 2010 championship. Our champions already confirmed there, the drivers of that 2nd car in that shot, the Maserati, of course. But are they going to win the manufacturer's trophy, the SRO manufacturer's trophy? Well, right now, no, they're not. It looks as though Aston Martin are going to win that, courtesy of this remarkable performance by the 2 Hexis cars running in 1st and 3rd places. Now then, here we are. This is Stefan Mucker in the 2nd of these 2 cars. He is now chasing Mark Basseng. Now, Basseng won't be, I think, quite as quick as his teammate was in that car. His teammate was Riccardo Rizzati, the Argentine, who was very rapid. Basseng himself has had a bit of an up and down time this season, scored very few points, and he's coming under a lot of pressure from Stefan Mucker.
The Aston right now, Mucker is lapping approximately a second per lap quicker, has caught up to the back of the Lamborghini. Now he's got to think about which part of the racetrack am I going to find to put my Aston up one more place.
Right, let's get back down to the pits. Haley has some more reaction for us.
Michael, you're involved in a great battle out there, but unfortunately it looks like the race is over for you now.
Yeah, I think did some damage to the front of the car, and so I think the power steering oil had a leak, and I couldn't see anymore and steer anymore. So it's a bit of a double problem around this track. But yeah, it's a shame, because it was really great fun to drive around here, and would have liked to battle my way up to the points, but that's racing.
Thank you.
Yep, he was enjoying himself at the time, wasn't he? Certainly getting into the mix. But here we go, John, back with Stefan Mucker trying to find a way past Mark Basseng. I said that Basseng hadn't scored many points. Actually, he's scored 0 points so far this year, but he is in a point-scoring position here thanks to the work that his Argentine colleague has done. Now he's got to try and protect at least one position. Having said that, even if he lost one place here, he'd still have by far the best result of his year.
Indeed, and you see the Aston Martin over the previous 3 laps have taken lumps out of the advantage the Lamborghini had, but now that Stefan Muck has got into that close area behind the Lamborghini, he's now running more or less at the same pace, and he's got to find a way to pick up his own momentum and once again look to a way where you can use that momentum to swoop past. He's dropped back a second or more. His last lap was in the 2:17s.
Yeah, so he's definitely slowed down a lot. Good lap on that last one by Sergio Jimenez in the 4th place Reiter Lamborghini in the 2:16s. But that Aston Martin that you're watching there, Stefan Mucker has learned an awful lot from Lopez because he's been driving very quickly all weekend and has got to grips with this circuit remarkably fast. There you could just see on the graphic how much he gained, and look how much he's gained in just a tiny fraction of the lap. He's got a great run going here.
He was better under brakes and he was quicker into the corner, and he sort of halved the distance that they had going across the start-finish line. But now he's got to do the long run, the long climb out of turn 6 up to the fastest and tallest, highest part of the racetrack.
Behind them, a little gap to Nicholas Armindo and Michael Bartels, who's still not found a way past just yet. Behind them is Alfred in the championship. They've lost both cars from the race, and well, not the end to the season that they particularly would have wanted, but they do have something to look forward to, and that is the award for the Tourist Trophy that they won at Silverstone earlier on this year with Warren Hughes and Jamie Campbell-Walter. Having taken that success, they will be going to a very special award ceremony to receive that trophy. The other big special awards ceremony that's coming up at the end of the week is the FIA Gala. That will see the crews of the top 3 who come through in the Drivers' Championships go to the FIA Gala, and right now it's obviously going to be Bertolini and Bartels. It's also going to be Thomas Murch by the looks of things.
Yeah, and there's this battle going on for 5th place. You got Basseng in the Lamborghini in 5th place, and you got 6th place. You got 5th place. You got in the 6th place Stefan Mucker, who is about to try and put a move on that Lamborghini to put that car up into 5th.
Yep, young driver desperate to get something back from this weekend. It's been a tough time for the number 7 and number 8 cars, but if they could just gain another place, that would boost them a little bit. We've just heard from the pits, by the way. Haley tells us that it's a gearbox failure on the Nissan that we've just seen retire. So sadly, Warren Hughes' race has come to an end with a gearbox problem. That is what has put them out, and it means that up into 10th place now, Christopher Haas in the other Reiter Lamborghini. But I don't think it's going to be enough for Reiter to prevent Hexis taking 2nd spot in the team's championship.
This is a real battle for the top 6 positions. 5th and 6th, Basseng in the Lamborghini, Muka in the Aston Martin. The Aston Martin right now fractionally the quicker of the 2 cars, and the Lamborghini having to think about being defensive down the hill into turn 14. Look at the smoke coming off that right front brake, and that wasn't tire smoke, that looked to me like brake.
Yeah, it's certainly getting tough for Mark Basseng to hold this Aston Martin behind. The grip is going away all the time. Ever so easy to make a mistake. We've seen people, if you just put a wheel or 2, oh, he's done it, he's run wide. Oh my goodness, but there's no space for the number 8 car to take advantage of that. Now, can he do something on this next uphill section?
No, not in this section, but certainly an area where the pressure is going in Mark Basseng. He's got no option but just to focus on what he's doing, because the Aston now is really about to make a move sooner, in my opinion, than later.
Yeah, Basseng definitely made that little error that was being looked for by Stefan Mucker, but there was no chance for Mucker to actually get alongside. So he's just getting as close as he possibly can to the back of that Lamborghini, hoping that he can push him to go on to the dirty stuff somewhere else on the track where there is plenty of width to get past. But that V12 Lamborghini is still quick in a straight line. It applies it out of that last corner, and they're really just edges away again. Here comes the Aston under braking though.
The Aston, I think, has just got more grip, but it's not able to take advantage of it at this part of the circuit. Oh, the back of the car rode the curb, snapped out to the right, and Mukov had to probably come out of the throttle momentarily, and again losing slight momentum as a consequence.
Basseng is using all his skill and guile here as he tries to fend off the fast Aston Martin right behind him. Basseng, 31-year-old German racer who started out racing Clios. He was German Clio champion back in 2003. He's raced in the V6 Clio series, he's raced Porsches, and he's raced in GTs now for a couple of years. also racing in GT2 in the LMS series. But this GT1 campaign has been very difficult for him. Been driving with Christopher Bouchou a lot of the time this season, also with Thomas Jaeger. So it's been a different driver lineup on different occasions. This weekend he's got the young Argentine driver who's helped him so much. But can he hold on for 5th place?
Well, he's having to hang on with everything he's got, because as we see the race leader come up through the turns after the hairpin at the bottom of the circuit, comfortably with only 2 minutes and 20 seconds of this race remaining.
Yeah, that's right. We are very much towards the end, not only of this race, but of the whole championship campaign. And I tell you what, this has been an utterly dominant display by car number 9 of the Hexis team. It's Fred Makovicky there, and he's smiling. He's confident. Just 2 minutes to go. Jan Claret, his teammate, who joined this team halfway through the year. It was a different series of different drivers. Stefan Sarazan drove with them earlier in the year. Thomas Akari did a good job for them. But you know, they've not had a championship race win. They've had 2 qualifying race wins, but now as they go onto the final lap, according to that graphic, it looks as though they are going to take the maximum point score for the first time this season, and with it they're going to help Aston Martin win the SRO Manufacturers Trophy. Much in 2nd place. We haven't seen much of him either, but that drive by Richard Westbrook in the early stages got him into a safe 2nd. There is Richard, and I'm sure he'll be delighted because it will allow Thomas to take the runner-up spot in the driver's title.
Yes, he'll be happy with that, but he will be disappointed that they didn't win this race here this afternoon. They did want to win one of the 2 races. The disappointing qualifying result had to start further back than they anticipated, and now in 2nd place, but on the final lap we're looking at the leading Aston Martin.
Yeah, it's Jan Claret at the wheel. He turns 27 just a little earlier on this week. And what a great birthday present this is going to be for him and indeed for the entire team. The Hexis team is a French team. It's got 2 French drivers on board. And not only that, they've also put themselves ahead of young driver in that sort of inter-team rivalry of Aston Martin teams. There's no doubt that this has gone the way of Hexis, all because of their performance here at the Potrero de las Funes circuit. They have been in a class of their own.
Well, I think everybody would have expected the young driver Aston Martins, those 2 cars, to be the dominant of the 4 Astons in the race. And here they are, the 2 Hexis cars have been the dominant Astons of the race. And this particular car has been on song all weekend.
Yeah, the team run by Philippe Dumas, who's a very quick driver himself. In fact, he drove one of the cars right at the beginning of the year. He drove this car at Abu Dhabi because there were some issues with driver lineups, and Philippe since then has been managing the team. He's incredibly competitive, but a very calm person as well. He runs this team very, very efficiently, and they are going to surely come through. They've won the team's championship in GT3. That was back in 2009. And their young engineer Antoine Ponvant is the architect of their recent success. And I tell you what, this weekend that car has definitely been the one to drive. As they come through the last section of the track now, Jan Claret is going to bring the Hexis Aston Martin home to take victory in the last race of the 2010 season. It is going to be victory to Hexis Aston Martin number 9, Fred Makovicky. Throws his fist in the air. He is absolutely delighted with that. They've taken their first championship race win of the season. They saved it up to the last, but coming through to take 2nd place in the championship in the drivers' battle, it is Thomas Much on board his Matek Ford, and you can just see a little reaction from him as well.
Yeah, he just got on the brakes, went down the gear just to acknowledge the cheers from the Ford pit lane. But what a great drive by the 2 Aston Martin drivers, Fred Makovicky and Jan Claret. I mean, a superb light to flag victory by that Aston Martin.
Yeah, there was no way they were going to be caught. I thought that when Richard Westbrook got into 2nd place in the early stages of this race that he would be able to narrow the gap, but no way. There's Clivia Piccioni. They've got 3rd. So the team has got 1st and 3rd. Aston Martin have won the SRO Trophy for Manufacturers at the end of the season, and Maserati have not taken a clean sweep.
And I can tell you it is a very sweet win for the Hexis Aston Martin team. They've been battling all year, sometimes physically on the racetrack with their other Aston Martin team, the young drivers, and that will be very, very sweet indeed for the Hexis team to put it over the young driver Aston Martins.
And they could have done it much better. Okay, it might have been 1st and 2nd, but 1st and 3rd will do. And that's what they've achieved with their 2 cars here today. Solid performance by all 4 drivers, and despite not having any sort of local expertise in that team, they have come through and shown what tremendous pace they have had. 2nd place to that Ford of Thomas Bush. And let's just confirm the other top 10 finishers. Sergio Jimenez and Frank Kekela finished 4th in the Reuter Lamborghini, 5th after starting from the back, did go to Stefan Mucker. He got past Basseng on the last lap, John. We didn't see it, but Stefan Mucker and the number 8 Aston got 5th. But I tell you what, Basseng will still be delighted. His first points of the entire campaign after things went wrong in Brazil when Bouchou got thrown out of the meeting. He didn't even get to race, Mark Basseng. I'm so pleased for him that he's come home in 6th. 7th went to the new champions, Bertolini and Bartels. 8th went to Armindo and Yanni. 9th to Hager and Muller and their Maserati. And the final point went to Christopher Haas and Peter Cox. Well, let's just watch the... Oh, look at this, celebrations from Michael Bartels. Well, fair enough. I think he's certainly allowed to do that, having wrapped up the title in the first race of the day. And they've brought the car home in the points. Once again, you know, they have scored points every time out this year. That's how you win championships.
Yeah, I mean, it's just about consistency.
A lot of development on that car, so well done. The results then, after 26 laps in the championship race. Aston Martin dominating in the hands of Makovicky and Claire. Westbrook and Much taking a well-earned 2nd place, but the other Hexis car was 3rd. The Lamborghini in 4th of Kekkola and Jimenez. 5th, a great drive from Lopez and Mucker in their number 8 Aston Martin. Rizzati and Basseng. Basseng's first points in 6th. Bertolini and Bartels, they finished in 7th, but they've won the championship. Yanni and Armindo 8th. 9th to Muller and Hager. That's a good result for them again. And the final point scored by Cox and Haas. Just outside the points, the Al-Inkle car of Pastorelli and Schwager, the Lamborghini. Then the Corvette got up to 12th, despite being involved in 1 or 2 little incidents. 13th place went to the Swiss racing team Nissan of Ara and Nielsen. And then the other Vitaphone Maserati was 14th of Benaldi and Ramos. Then Paul Darrenton and Thomas Engert didn't have a great weekend this time, but that's the way it goes. And the 2 Sumo Power Nissans were both non-finishers. Also out of the race were the 2 Mark VDS cars. It just didn't suit them this weekend for whatever reason, and other non-finishers down towards the back, including Carl Wendlinger. But it really was they'll be delighted. Piccioni, of course, himself is from Monaco. Jonathan Hershey, the Swiss driver, but it's very much a French-speaking team, and they will be loving this, celebrating every moment of it. Meanwhile, of course, the German Matek team, with Thomas Much on board there and Richard Westbrook, the English driver. Very strong driver combination that has been. But there we are with Fred Makovicky and Jan Claire receiving their trophies. Makovicky's done what he wanted to do. That was to win a championship race at some point this year.
Is that the first time we've had a French team winning an event this year?
I think it is, actually. I think certainly an all-French driver lineup. I don't think we've had that at any of the other races. So well done to them. Many congratulations after such a strong performance all weekend long. And they didn't only just win that race, they won the qualifying race as well. And that's only happened on a couple of occasions. Aston Martin managed it with their other drivers, Turner and Engert, at the Nürburgring. And Bertolini and Bartels have done it once as well, where they've won both the qualifying and the championship race. But it's only, I think, the 3rd time that has been achieved. And the final points in the drivers, Bertolini and Bartels finished the season on 138, ahead of Much in 2nd. And Makovicky got 3rd in the end, having moved up a huge amount. Engert and Turner got pushed back to 4th. And if we take a look at the celebrations on the podium, it is time for the champagne spray, and they are already crying thanks to the spray and the sting of the champagne in their eyes, but it's worth it because they have achieved a great deal here this weekend on a circuit which I think every driver that has had a chance to get out there has thoroughly enjoyed.
And I think Stefan Rottel, Chief Officer of this operation, delighted to announce that we look forward to coming back here on many more occasions.
Final teams, points, Vitaphone Maserati taking the victory, but Hexis Aston finished 2nd, Reiter Lamborghini finished 3rd, Young Driver finished 4th ahead of Martek, and Sumo Power, they were hoping for 3rd, they got pushed down to 6th. Extremely well, and it is time now for the championship podium to take place. There we have the banner champions 2010. 2006, 2008, 2009 were when they won the FIA GT Championship, but now it is, of course, the first year as a full FIA World Championship. And there we are. They're going to make the most of this. And the trophies being given by the governor of the state here in San Luis. And once again, we can't really say enough about the way they've prepared this track, the way they've welcomed GT1 drivers, team members, TV, everybody. We've had such a warm welcome. There's such friendly people here, and they have made it a very, very enjoyable stay.
I think that might be the largest Blancpain watch in the world. 2 of them, in fact, going there. It is magnificent pieces of timing and held high above the head by Bertolini and by Michael Bartels.
Yeah, the Blancpain clock's part of the trophies here for the winners of the championship, and as the ticker tape falls down, they have taken the title then. Bertolini and Bartels win in 2010 in the Vitaphone Maserati MC12. They had to work for it. They took a couple of wins along the way, a couple of qualifying race wins as well. Only 2 pole positions. There's no way that they dominated the season as perhaps they have in previous years of the FIA GT Championship.
I'm just leading me into the point I'm going to make in 2011, depending on how the regulations are formed, but for sure it's going to become more difficult. Not because of the competitiveness of the individual cars, but because I think the standing in GT1 racing, the quality of drivers that are coming in, it's just going to drag and drive that forward. So we see Aston Martin winning here today. What's going to happen in 2011? Well, I think that'll a tale I will wait to look forward to.
Well, I'll be looking forward to it. We've seen some drivers come into the championship, exciting drivers. I've loved the fact that we've had some local drivers in these South American races. Quick Brazilians, quick Argentinians who've shown us what they can do. Getting new names out there. We're going to circuits like this, which I've obviously never been to before, and I think now is right up there on my list of favourite tracks in terms of what it is to look at, what it is to commentate on, and what it would be like to drive, I'm sure. So this one right up on the list, and these guys are celebrating. We've had a fantastic season. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget, some of you already are watching us on GT1World.com, but for those of you who aren't, make sure you go to the website. We have so much more for you there. You can really get behind the scenes of everything that's been going on. Our thanks to Hayley Coxon down in pit lane, to all the guys involved in the TV coverage who've worked so hard to bring us such a great show. From Ben Edwards and John Watson, until next year, bye-bye.